Hey, Ashley here with Newton Ridge Hobby Farm. I want to give y'all a tour of my garden. We are in between really finishing up our early spring and starting our summer plants. So let me flip this camera around and we'll get our tour going. So it has been raining for, well, about a week. Sun, rain, enough to make everything grow. But it's still too wet to mow. So yeah, the grass is overgrown. It is what it is. So we'll start up here. We've got the greenhouse. This bed, it floods. The irrigation seems to want to overachieve right here. And I was asking myself, what plant likes a lot of water? And the only thing I could think of was watermelon. So I planted a couple watermelon plants in there just to see how it does. I plan to let it just kind of vine out here in this area. I might regret this choice. I won't know till it grows. And then in here I've got mint, and I can try to keep mint throughout the garden in pots. You don't want to put it in the ground because it will overtake everything. So then we will start here. This is the squash bed. I've got my little mint pot there. In this bed we've got marigolds, alyssum, nasturtiums. I don't think I'm saying that right, so bear with me. Sunflowers, green beans, and dill just dispersed throughout here. The reason I have all of that added to this bed is to help with companion planting, with attracting predator bugs that eat the prey or eat the pest bugs. Also repelling pest bugs, or doing a pest bug trap where they prefer one plant and leave your other plants alone. The green beans help to replace the nitrogen in the soil. Dill is another repellent. So just lots of companion planting happening in here. So this bed starts off with zucchini. And we got a little one right there. We got some zucchini. I had counted how many I put in, but I forgot what number it was. It's something like 30 something zucchini plants. So all of these are zucchini. They're doing great. I do need to come up. As you can tell, I've got stakes put in with each plant. I do grow my squash vertically. I have found that it really helps not only save space, but to keep the pests from getting to it. It makes a huge difference. It doesn't mean you're not going to get any pests, but they're way more manageable. So we've got zucchini, and then it goes over to the yellow squash. We got some more zucchini right in here. So they're growing. They really liked all this rain we just got. And we got some yellow squash in here. All of these are yellow squash. And this goes on, and I think yellow squash is 30 something squash plants as well. You know, the green beans, the dill, sunflowers, some alyssum. And then over here we've got butternut squash. Now if you notice on the leaves, there's these random holes. And I came out here and I'm like, what in the world did this? What kind of pest has already attacked my garden and did this to my leaves? Only to remember that we had a hailstorm, and we had, I think it was nickel size hail. That's hail damage. So I was like, well, that's great. So we come down here and we've got some onions. Keep on going. This is a peach tree. Decided to produce this year, which I was surprised. Out of all my peach trees, this one seemed to struggle the most. But it's producing, and it's doing so good this year. Then here, and I have a lot of weeding to catch up on. Gardening, I don't like to use any kind of chemicals. I try to put down paper, but you know, your weeds will go through the paper. So you just weed, a lot of weeding. So this is a blueberry plant. This plant is about 3-4 years old. It's its first year producing. So this one I'll get a handful off of it since it's its first year. This one, I'm surprised. This is a brand new one that I planted this spring. It wasn't a bare root though, so it's probably why it's producing. And this is my oldest blueberry plant. This thing is, oh, I'd say 6 years old. And I got my first good harvest off of it last year, and this year it is just loaded down. So excited about that. I love blackberries, love making the jelly. Over here is my blackberries. Now, it looks straggly. These plants are years old, and they produce like the first year, and you just cut them down, and then they just come right back up. They don't look like much, but they are loaded down already with the blackberries. Let me see if I can show you. And they're so loaded down. So that's gonna be a lot of blackberry jelly, blackberry cobbler. We'll sell some at the farmer's market because this always overproduces. Now this bed, I've got some cantaloupes planted in here at the bottom. Then that's a cabbage left over from the spring. That's gonna bolt before it gets big enough to produce. It is what it is. These are some leftover cabbage. I should be able to get these two before it gets too hot. And then I got a random potato. Sometimes you get surprise plants. It happens. I enjoy it. It's kind of like Christmas. Here, I was curious. Everybody says you need to mulch with straw. It won't seed. All that grass, yeah, that's straw seed. And I come in with my hula hoe, and I like to weed, and I can't get in there with my hula hoe, so I do not like mulching with straw. If you like it, then more power to you, but it's not for me. So we've got some onions, and then here's some potatoes. So these are purple potatoes, and they're interspersed with onions. I meant to get some beans in there, which I probably will, to help replace the nitrogen in the soil. Now these ones, I definitely know I'm not going to be able to get harvested by the time they grow, so I'll probably just throw some pinto beans in there just to help replace the nitrogen. Then we get over here. These are my turnips. And turnips, they're kind of, the first time I planted them, nothing came up. Nothing. And I've been gardening most of my life, and you're going to fail. It's gonna happen. So what do? You just reseed. So they're growing. They take a long time to get to this stage, but then they just kind of take off. So these ones will be taking off here soon. And over here, it's kind of what's left of my winter, early spring beds. I've got some Swiss chard there, some sugar snap peas, and the pot is mint seeds that I've got going. I'll get some, I just planted some celery in here. So that's the celery. And then over here, we've got a bolted lettuce, so that needs to go. And then I've got my broccoli kind of finishing up, some more bolted lettuce. You know, it's all just the colder weather stuff finishing out. Got some kale that I've just kind of put some kale in some random places. Some more sugar snap peas. And then this bed, this is a tomato bed. It's got some Romas and some 4th of July tomatoes, so they're earlier producers. And in this bed, I've got marigolds, alyssum, green beans, again, to replace the nitrogen in the soil. Basil is just an amazing companion plant for tomatoes. It repels pests. It's supposed to enhance the flavor of your tomatoes. So those are in there. And then, of course, sweet alyssum. So there's that. And then this is another potato bed. Now I planted garlic in here for the first time, and the garlic's didn't get as big as garlic typically does. It's looking like it might be ready. We'll see. We'll see how it does. But you see how the potatoes are turning yellow? They're going to be ready soon. So they'll die, and about 2 weeks after they die, I'll dig them up. So we've got the potatoes, and in between I did pinto beans. I won't harvest the pinto beans. They're literally there for companion planting. And these potatoes, interesting story, if you are subscribed to my channel, these potatoes, I planted them. They were russet potatoes that I forgot were in my pantry. So I planted them and they grew beautifully. So this is my asparagus bed. I got some asparagus that needs to be cut. So, and then we get to this bed and we've got some tomatoes. We got some 4th of Julys. We've got some Better Boys, green beans. There's marigolds in there, basil's in there. I list them throughout. And then when you come down here, we've got watermelon plants. And as these watermelon plants grow, we'll vine them out this way and they'll kind of act as a mulch for the tomato plants. At least that's my theory. And we'll see how it works out. So we'll come this way. This is another asparagus bed. It's gotten away from me. Don't judge me. And then we've got our grapes. On my channel, I do have a video of us building this trellis, and the grapes are just loving it. They're growing up and over. And we've got so many little bundles of grapes. So lots and lots of grapes here. You can see them. We'll do grape juice, grape jelly. I don't make wine, but if I knew how, I probably would. I might learn how one of these days. See, this is the grape trellis with all of its cute little grapes on there. That's the grapes there. And then over here, we've got cucumbers and, oh, let me look in the right area. We've got cucumbers. I've got some sunflowers in there, some nasturtiums. Again, I don't think I'm saying that right, but it's okay. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Green beans. There's marigolds in there somewhere. Oh, I planted them. And then here we've got raspberries. This plant was given to me last year by a friend. They had it growing in a big pot. It was actually a 5-gallon bucket, and they gave it to me. I planted it in the ground and it's starting to produce little raspberries. Like that. Now this is my honeysuckle. Yes, it is wild, and most people don't like honeysuckle because they say it's invasive, and it is invasive. So I trim this down quite often, but I like having it because I will pick the flowers off of it and make jelly from it. Make a honeysuckle jelly and a strawberry honeysuckle jelly, and it looks really bare, like it doesn't have any flowers right now, and that's because I just harvested most of them. They will be in bloom here in about a week. They'll be covered in some more blooms. So we'll shoot back over here. This is the other side of those beds with the sugar snaps, and I've got some celery. That is what's left of my cauliflower lettuce that hasn't bolted yet, and that's some Roma lettuce that hasn't bolted yet. Got some more kale, broccoli, and as these finish up or the lettuce bolts, I will pull them and we'll plant some summer plants. So we'll go over here. There's the honeysuckle. And this, like I said, this honeysuckle, oh, it's already starting to get some more little blooms on there. I'll pick them and make the honeysuckle tea and make my jelly from it. So this here is my strawberry bed. On this side, On this side, these two. These plants, this is their second year. So the hardest part that I have with growing strawberries is I cannot seem to beat the turtles or the rabbits or the deer or the birds or everything else that wants to eat the strawberries seems to beat me to them for the most part. So I'm actually going to put in some 4x4 posts all the way down, and I have a huge shade cloth. So what I'm going to do is put some deer netting around the bed and cover it with some shade cloth once the heat gets so high and it's done with its production of strawberries, and that way they can really just grow and get healthy. That's my theory anyways. These plants I picked up bare root from Lowe's, I think it was, and I just planted them this spring, and they're doing great. I was surprised. The success rate, I think out of 40 bare roots that I planted, 2 died. 2 didn't make it. Now, if you do subscribe to my channel, you may have noticed that I have a video of how to plant a bare root fig tree. Well, to update on that, this is my bare root fig tree, and it's doing excellent. It's already got lots of stemming off. It's doing really good. So coming up from the strawberry bed, coming back to the backside, that is my cleanup mess. Don't look at it. I gotta clean all that up. Don't look. And then in here, I've got these grow bags. I was curious to see how well the potatoes would do in it, so they're growing in here. I've got these carrots I grew over the winter, so this is what's left of them. Back behind here, I only planted a few Brussels sprouts. I don't have the best luck with Brussels sprouts, so I've just been planting a few here and there to see where I can be successful with growing them. Again, alyssum in here, some more carrots, got some baby chicks and a drink, and this is my pollinator garden. This is new. We used to raise pigs. This is where I had the pigs. Pigs they're a lot. They're expensive to feed. They're escape artists. Great meat. Didn't have the time to take care of them properly. So we went ahead and stopped raising, and I started planting in here. And because we had pigs for so long, the ground is just great. Needs to be mowed, but I'll probably get to that sometime this weekend. This is an Arkansas apple. It's an Arkansas black apple, and I put this in mainly to be a pollinator to my Honeycrisp apple tree. So I probably have another year or two before they start producing, but I can't wait because Honeycrisp are my favorite. Now here we've got zinnias and hollyhocks. Some sunflowers are thrown in there. We've got Shasta daisies, just all kinds of big pretty flowers to bring in the pollinators. Over here in my little solar lamp, I've got some more alyssum. I put some other seeds in there. I don't remember what seeds I put in there with them. We'll see. These are sunflowers. Over here I've got some canna lilies. That's a tulip. Some gladioluses. More sunflowers. Daylilies. In here, this is actually an elephant plant, and I didn't do that for pollinators. I did that for my chickens, so that on those hot summer days, because this is south facing, it's gonna give them more shade. And here we've got some more sunflowers. One thing I do want to mention about the sunflowers is not only do they grow big and leafy and will provide them with some shade, but the heads of the sunflowers, once they kind of die over and dry, I'll just cut them off and toss them to the chickens. They love them and they're great for them. This is a little well house that my dad made. And in here, I've got some sweet potato vines, some more alyssum. I threw some seeds in there. Don't remember what I threw in there. And then here we've got gladioluses, hollyhocks, daylilies, You got a kitty cat. That's Roxanne. Say hi, Roxanne. And over here, some more sunflowers. I think those are cosmos. Daylilies. We've got another calla lily and a canna lily. And then some other bulbs. I don't really remember what all I put in there. I'll be just as surprised as everybody else. And that's a lily. These are irises growing up here. Those have already bloomed. They won't bloom again. More sunflowers. And then all here where you see the bare dirt, you've got alyssum planted in there, some 4 o'clocks. 4 o'clocks are probably one of my favorites because they just attract so many pollinators and the hummingbirds. We've got butterfly flower planted in there, some Benjamin buttons, some nasturtiums. Again, I'm saying it wrong, I know I am. But this will, the way I planted it was that the tall will go against the fence and it will go shorter. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that looks when it's done. This is the first pollinator bed that I put in, and we've got the canna lily, we've got a 4 o'clock, we've got irises, daffodils are in there, and obviously the irises and daffodils, and those are done blooming. But I've got the snapdragons, just all kinds of pretty flowers, different colors to help bring in the pollinators to help my garden grow. Now let's go over to the high tunnel. All right, so here we are in the high tunnel, and in here I've been pruning up my strawberries. I've been pruning up my tomatoes. Look at all these buds. Now these are Granny Cantrellus, excuse me. Apparently I can't talk today. Granny Cantrellus, and these will get 2 pounds, and they're real meaty, so great for canning and preserving and making sauces. So we've got lots of buds on these. Green beans, they're kind of finding out, which blows my mind because the seeds I bought were bush beans. These are not bush beans. It's okay. In here we've got basil. I planted seeds for marigolds and none of them came up. I'm not sure what I did. Can't win them all. I don't care how long you've been gardening, you're going to fail here and there. It happens. So we've got some more tomatoes, this extra long green bean, lots of basil. So I'll have some basil to take to the farmer's market here soon. And then these tomatoes, I do have the trellises that go up, and I will trellis them up. Some of them I've got a double leader happening. Some of them I chose not to do a double leader. I've never grown the Granny Cantrells before, so I'm kind of seeing, you know, how they do. So some more, they keep going. We've got mint in here, and like I said, I just pruned all these up so that they could really focus on growing the tomatoes. And those keep going. Now we're gonna get over to the Bonnie Best. These are kind of a slicer tomato, not quite as big as the Better Boy, and they're doing great. They're just really producing, and the plants are just loaded down, just all kinds. And one thing I've been doing as I've been cutting off these extra leaders, I've just been sticking them in my bed just to see if they'll root well or not without me having to actually put them in a pot and baby them. Now if that doesn't work as the season goes on and I want a succession plan, I'll take some leaders and really baby them to get them to root. Now I know it looks messy, but as I prune, I throw the cuts down to use as a mulch. So that's not weeds, that's just the cuts. So we've got lots and lots of tomatoes. Again, this is still the Bonnie Best. Look at all these tomatoes. There's nothing better than some garden fresh tomatoes. Look, this little guy's doing great. So is this one. And you've got the green beans, we've got the basil, and we've got, I think, 1 or 2 Better Boys down here at the bottom. And they're doing pretty good. So So then we'll swing around to this side. These are eggplant, and they're doing really good. I've got some buds showing there. Where is it? Here it is. Now I have these in here. These are a heat-loving plant. I'm looking forward to when these actually really start producing. I've got carrots thrown in there. And in here we've got peppers. Now these are jalapeno peppers. I've got some habaneros. I need to weed, but we got some habanero peppers in here. Some sweet peppers or sweet banana peppers. They're all growing in here. Love a banana pepper. And as we come down, these are your bell peppers. So this is just a mix of bell peppers. There's red. We got one growing there. So lots of peppers. And I've got carrots kind of thrown in there. And then here we've got okra. Okra loves the heat. So they will take off here soon. They've actually grown quite a bit in the last week. And this is some more okra that I planted a little later. So they're coming up. And I have not filled these beds. I finally finished them up, but I need to take out the plastic from underneath and get them filled. And then over here we've got cucumbers, green beans, my favorite, not so favorite word again, the nasturtiums. If somebody wants to tell me if I'm saying that right or if I'm just destroying it, feel free. So we've got marigolds are in there. And here are just a bunch of little zinnia seeds. I wanted to bring in some pollinators to the high tunnel, so I just sprinkled some zinnia seeds in here. We've got some mint, and we've got tomatoes. Again, now these marigolds actually grew. I'm not sure what happened to the other marigolds. Not really sure. But here we've got, this is a beefsteak. It's growing lovely. It's not starting to produce anything just yet, but I planted these a little later than the ones across the high tunnel. So in here we've got the green beans. I've got these trimmed up. The beefsteak, we got some flowers. That means they're going to be producing soon. Basil, there's alyssum in there. I need to get some dill going. So now here we've got the 4th of July. I like 4th of July because they produce much faster. Now I have tomatoes in the outside garden. I have tomatoes in the high tunnel because the high tunnel helps to get you some produce faster. You can grow longer. It extends the season. So these will be ready long before the ones in the garden will be ready. So then we come over here. These are San Moranos. They're like aroma, but bigger. And great for canning. So that's it. Thank y'all for letting me share my garden with you and going on this tour with me. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I know I enjoy working in the garden. It really is my happy place. If you have any questions, feel free to post them. I try to make sure to answer every question and any comment. And if there's something specific you'd like to see, or if you want to tell me how to pronounce nasturtium, however you say it, please tell me how to pronounce that. Otherwise, I'll see y'all next time. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Bye.